Welcome to the Main Street Business Insight Podcast,
featuring the stories of America's downtown and neighborhood entrepreneurs.
There's so much about being a Main Street business that is intertwined with what it means to be part of a community.
The impact that it has on creating jobs, occupying vacant storefronts, improving the quality of life, this is a big deal.
What advice would you give to other Main Street businesses?
Investing in yourself is the most important thing that you can do.
What was that experience like for you to reach out and, learn from others?
Any entrepreneur getting into business, I highly recommend find the people that you trust that'll tell you the thing you may or may not want to hear when you need to hear it, and who will stand by you in helping to solve your challenges.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Main Street Business Inside Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wagner, Chief Innovation Officer at Main Street America. And in this show, we're going to dive into a powerful story of cultural pride, resilience, and entrepreneurship. I'm going to be joined by Daphne Labault, founder of Plena Mercancía, a vibrant retail space located in the heart of Chicago's Puerto Rican commercial district. Now, what started as a vision in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria has really grown into a bridge between the island and its diaspora, a place where Puerto Rican artisans can share their work and where community and culture is celebrated and preserved and lived every day. We're going to talk about her personal journey to entrepreneurship, the importance of community in her work, the challenges she's faced, and the role of a small business accelerator played in bringing her dreams to life. Now, Daphne's vision for her business took shape at the Puerto Rican Cultural Center with support from the Hartford Small Business Accelerator Program, an initiative that helps small businesses by funding both physical and virtual spaces in Main Street districts to help them grow and launch. Now, thanks to the generous support of the Hartford and other community-focused partners, as such, this is much more than a business story. It's a story about keeping tradition alive, building economic pathways, and creating spaces where identity and commerce come together. So enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Main Street Business Inside Podcast. Today, it's so great to have Daphne here joining me. Hey, Daphne, how you doing?
Hi, good, and you?
Good. It's I've heard so many wonderful things. I got to see at least the exterior of the business the last time I was in Chicago, but we didn't have a chance to meet firsthand. So even though we're online right now, it's so good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm super.
So as we talked about sort of in the pre-introduction, we're always very interested on the podcast to better understand your story, your background, this journey to entrepreneurship and small business ownership. And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the creation of Plena Mercancía. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about that. Yeah,
so I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I actually studied marine biology. After graduating, we had kind of a little situation that happened on the island, which was Hurricane Maria. When this happened, we kind of lost part of our house.
No.
We were put in this situation of we just graduated. What should we do? And with so many limited options, we came to Chicago. Never been here before. I don't know anybody here. So we came, we didn't have anything to lose because we already lost our house. So we were like,
oh, tragic.
Yeah, but opportunities rise from different situations. We came here, we found that there was a Puerto Rican community, and I just loved the people. I was wondering how could I bring that little grain of salt to support the community, and not only support this community, how could I support the community in Puerto Rico? And I was trying to put one and one, and this project came about.
Wow. So, okay, I'm I'm still hooked on the marine biology. Now, granted, Chicago is on Lake Michigan, as we all know, but going from marine biology, traveling to Chicago to set up a new residence, to launching a business, that's still a pretty wide spectrum. What came into your mind that this was the pathway for you?
So, I was having a lot of trouble being here in the United States because I kind of didn't want to leave my country.
Yeah.
But I had no other options. So I came here and I was feeling very guilty about leaving my country and knowing that a lot of people are struggling. So I met a professor here that he's actually from Puerto Rico as well. And he was explaining to me that it's not about the island, it's about what you're doing for the island and what you're doing for the people. And so I was already an artisan as well in Puerto Rico, so I knew the community, and I was like, okay, I already know this group of people. How can I help them while also being outside of the island? So that's when I said, if I bring merchandise here, I can help all of these people in the island by selling their stuff, help expand their merchandise, and also I work by consignment. So when 80% of everything that I sell, goes back to the island. So it's 80-20. So they can have, because the whole purpose of this, it's not for gains, is for marketing. I want them to market more their products and open themselves to different venues.
Yeah, wonderful. I love the concept. And, I read a lot about the business, before, and thinking of it is not just a retail store that is often thought of as kind of just transactional. You're selling a good and I'm buying a good, but there's more meaning with your business. It's really a cultural hub. And I wonder if you could share what a business means when it's rooted in community, and how that shows up in your work and your vision for the business.
Yeah, coming from the island, when you live in a situation of struggle, you learn to be a hustler, you learn to sell. But even though we have that in our nature, we don't sell just because I could pick up any item and sell it to you. But I don't want to do that because that is not in our nature. Our nature is to offer you something with context, with history, with a background. And that was something that I have been trying to kind of like re-educate or like expose to the people, the diaspora. Because, for example, a lot of people here wear with a lot of pride the Puerto Rican flag. But I tell them that is amazing, but who made that flag? Where does it come from? Usually a very mass-produced place. Then this has no meaning to us. We like a flag or any other item that is, who is made by, who did it, why they did it. So for us, we don't buy an item per se, we buy a whole history. And for us, it's very common to, whenever we're going to sell something, we're going to tell you, this is why we made it. We made it with this purpose. We made it because we want to offer or share this. So to us, the item is not the only value. It's also the context of that item. So I kind of wanted to bring that and share that with the community, and also show people that you can buy stuff, you can do consumerism, but there are ways to do it more meaningful. So like pretty much everyone that I have here, they produce stuff with a purpose, not just for producing.
Yeah, in many ways, you're not only a business owner, but a storyteller. It seems to be a really important part of why someone's going to come to your place of business and buy. They're connecting to the product itself. You also recently, as I understand, added a coffee element, and I wonder, this bringing together of sort of like food and beverage with
product, it seems to go with maybe the brand that you're building with this business. Could you talk about that decision?
Yeah, so I noticed that by the diaspora being exposed so much to a North American lifestyle, they have created this very transactional way of doing business. And I kind of wanted to show that people there's another way, a way to like slow down, because usually when we make things more convenient, it becomes less community type. So the type of coffee that we do, which is pour over coffee,
Okay.
this makes you slow down because you have to wait for it. It's not a espresso machine, which is quicker. And we wanted to bring like our space. There are different styles of seating. So we want people to feel like a living room, to have a slow coffee where you like in Puerto Rico, when you go to grandma's house, she doesn't have an espresso machine. You know, you're going to sit down and you're going to wait and you're going to talk to her. So that's kind of like what we were bringing here. And also, Puerto Rico is very proud of doing slow art. Everything is made slow with purpose. So it also connects so well. People are, while I'm prepping the coffee, people are looking around, sitting down. We have created actually a very beautiful community of people from Iraq, Singapore, Puerto Rico, Spain, that just sit down and talk. And it doesn't matter if you're consuming or not. I want this to be a space for people to sit and take a breather and notice that there are other community members that are actually also looking for a space to talk and socialize without the pressures of everything else that is going on. We've even like, if community members are doing gallery openings, we have planned to all go together. There was a theater, we all went together. So we're trying to not only sell and do all of this, we're also trying to create community within the space that I feel is getting a little bit lost with everything.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that. I mean, I think with so much technology and the ability to connect in some ways like this, that human connection of in person gets lost, and we get a little bit rusty in our being able to even do that. And so I appreciate spaces like yours that allow and encourage people from all different walks of life to come together and talk about anything while they're surrounded by great products and of course coffee, which makes the world go around. What's interesting is as well with the concept of supporting, local vendors, makers, artisans from Puerto Rico and from your own community there in Chicago is in some ways you're also supporting their access to market. And what I find interesting is you kind of went through that process in starting your own business. There was a life before the storefront on Division Street, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about your participation in a business accelerator and what that was like going through as a newbie entrepreneur and just trying to build a concept. Could you talk a little bit about your participation?
Yes, so actually, before the storefront, before Plena Mercancía, since I was an artisan in the island, I have still a jewelry line called Plena Mercancía. So, and there I started dabbling with introducing a little bit of other people's products from the island. And then I met Honorio through PRCC and all the group that was telling me, because I started with that and they were like, hey, we have this business accelerator, we have this program. And I was like, oh, okay. So they started giving me guidelines like, oh, you need to do a business, how do you call that?
Or a business plan.
a business plan. They went with me through that. They went with me through, okay, let's start an LLC, let's start this, let's start that. So they started giving me the step by step. And then from my jewelry line, I started, okay, and I already had the idea. I just didn't know what steps or what I needed to do. Because also, I'm not from Chicago, so it's super different how everything works here. So they started showing me, okay, already have this. You already know how to do sales. You already know how it works. Now, how are we going to shift this to be not just you? We're going to do this conglomerate of all these other artisans, all this coffee. So they gave me the step by step of how to organize and how to produce what is now Plena Mercancía. So thanks to PRCC and the Hatford community who created and gave me the guidelines to how do you say encaminar, to like gave me the path,
The
to
pathway.
like this is what we're gonna do. Cause I did not know how to do the first step. Like I knew how to do my jewelry line because I didn't have all of these other pressures. So it was like however I wanted to do it. But then they sat me and they're like, okay, this is how we go step by step. And everything has been like a learning process of like, okay, now you have this, now you have the storefront, okay, now you need this license, now you need this one. So it has been like different sections of, okay, you filled this up, great, we're in another step. You filled this up, now we're in another step. So it has been a super learning experience, and it has been super, it's been difficult, but also it helps you see everything differently. Like sometimes I go to places, I'm like, oh my God, this person had to take out this permit, this other thing. Like now you see businesses a little bit different and like, whoa, this person had to take so many permits to get to what I'm seeing right now.
Every day it's something. I wonder, is part of the, the Hartford supported accelerator there. You're meeting a lot of other entrepreneurs that are in a startup phase. And how important was that? Like not only having the support of PRCC and the programming, but just being able to network with other entrepreneurs. Was that sort of forming your own community in some ways of entrepreneurs? What was that experience?
Yeah, I was talking to them because a lot of them are also in the food industry and in several things that also collide with what I'm doing. And we have been talking about, you know what, we should sit down and help also the other communities by creating guidelines of, you know what, these type of fridge are super good, or these type of stuff, to also support the work that they are already doing of giving us the step by step. We can also add to that as a business and help people. Like for example, they told me like, the other businesses here told me like, oh, this trash company is amazing, these are the prices. So that kind of stuff that kind of doesn't fit into the business accelerator. It's like they tell you you need to do a trash can company this, but they don't tell you this brand or this. So having the other businesses, you can like now do comparison, like, oh, they're right, like this one. So it kind of like is an extra help, and it makes life a little bit easier to like find yourself, because there's so many options.
I think that's huge. And unfortunately on the business service provider side, like what we do at Main Street America and others, we get really excited about the programming elements, the education and that. But so much of the learning comes from peer to peer, people like yourself that are going through the same journey and comparing garbage companies to, refrigerator manufacturers or some other vendor connection. I think that's really powerful and the secret sauce behind a great accelerator program in many respects.
Yes. And also like pop-up events were like, hey, you need to get on these pop-up events, or these ones look amazing but they're not actually worth it. So it's those little things that help out. And plus, for me, it was super helpful because coming from Puerto Rico, we only have one electric company, one trash company. We don't have this variety. So coming here is super overwhelming because I didn't even know that existed. So many options. For us, it's like, this is what we have and that's it. So not knowing that, it's very like, oh my God, too many options. And for to have other businesses like ground you and tell you like, no, these are good, these ones don't even listen. So that kind of also helps out people who are also not from here.
Yeah, totally. Now, going from an accelerator program, and some people, come from their home, or maybe they were running a pop-up, but taking that leap to now having your own store, and running the business, from a piece of real estate. Could you talk a little bit about the new demands that you have as a store owner that maybe you didn't anticipate, or any of the sort of the big hurdles that you face on kind of the day-to-day life of store ownership?
Yeah, we never thought about having a storefront. This money was actually, we were planning on moving to Puerto Rico, but with so many things happening over there, it is not an option right now. So I was like, okay, we need to do something for the community. So let's invest in this community that is growing, that is, trying to reconnect. But opening this also without being from the country, it's a lot of challenges. Like, for example, right now, I don't have an AC. So we're trying to like figure out how to deal with this. We're up to now to like 6 fans, but now it shows me, okay, I have to create a budget to see how much the air system costs. So that's one of the things. Also, a day-to-day thing is like, when the store keeps growing, we were buying X amount of coffee beans, and we're like, oh my God, we're running out, we're going sold out. How much do I need? So that keeps changing. And also, yeah, pretty much that has been like, oh wait, we're going sold out, so we need to be buying these amount in advance, more amounts. So we're just, every day is like a trial and error of like how much we need of certain things to keep the store filled with items that are necessary. So it's been like a little bit trial and error. It's basically what it is. How many cups I need through the day, how much. We bought an ice machine, now we need another ice machine. So we just keep, figuring it out, how is it working. And yeah, and like sometimes you have stuff in your mind, but you have to be sure that when you're opening a business, you can't be married to that idea, because a store is ever growing, and maybe that idea you thought was amazing, but then when you put it into practice, it doesn't actually work out. So you always have to be willing to be like, okay, this is not working out. How can we change it or shift it so it fits the dynamic of the store or the place? So it's just like an everyday learning dynamic.
Yeah, you really speak to the heart of what's sometimes difficult to teach or ingrain is just being agile, flexible, recognizing that from day to day, things can change in your business that aren't in a business plan or written in a business plan. And you just kind of like have to go with the flow.
Yeah. Even to stuff that are non-related to the store, because like, for example, my kid's school, when he was going to school right now, they cut after school. So I was like, okay, now I have to reroute how the store is gonna work. How am I gonna put the scheduling? Because I'm still a mom, so I have to pick up my kid, but I also am a business owner. So how am I gonna deal with it? So it's like an everyday, you having to be aware that this is not written in stone. You have to be always a chameleon, ready to change, ready to adapt to the new situation that you're going to be faced. Because if you are very rigid on your thought and this is what I want to do, like, then you're not going to be able to work with it, because this is an ever changing process.
Exactly. Now your store, and I was able to walk Division Street, which is like so dynamic. And obviously the neighborhood has deep Puerto Rican roots. What role does the store play, you think, in the fabric of that community base, both in Chicago, but also back home in Puerto Rico?
Here, what I feel it brings and what it does is to reconnect. Like, Chicago is very much a big diaspora is rooted here, but it's a diaspora that has been here for many years. Grandparents who are the one that came in, and then this young generation is trying to understand their culture, but it's very hard when everything that you have to offer, it's very old and it's very dated. So I saw this space that could be a safe space for young people to understand a little bit better their culture, understand what's going on, because I've only been away from the island 7 years and I go constantly and my family is over there, so I'm very much connected to what is going on. Plus, I hear the news every day. And it's a place that I think brings actuality to the space, to a community that has been, that it's a very old way of thought of what the island was, because culture changed, like, and it's constantly, things are happening, and probably the situation that was faced when the people that came here was happening is not something that is priority right now, and another thing is happening, so probably stuff that they're not aware or that they still don't know because of their surroundings, they're not up to date to everything. And in my country, this has helped. Like, for example, not a couple months ago, there was a power outage. So I called all of my vendors and I was like, do you need the money up front? Do you need anything? So it's a way of helping them. Also, one of the vendors she had a federal job and she was cut. So I called her and I'm like, what money do you need? And I send it up front, because my country has a lot of hurricanes, earthquakes, stuff that happens, power outages, and it's very hard for you to be an artist and deal with all of these stuff. So I want this to be an extra income so they can keep doing their art, because when I was in when I was in the hurricane, I did jewelry, but we're all hungry. No one is going to buy jewelry while everybody is hungry and everyone is suffering.
Yes.
A lot of my coworkers be like, you know what, I can't do jewelry anymore. I can't do art anymore because I don't have any funds. But if I'm helping them, maybe they don't have that, it's still going to be hard, but at least something is coming in. So I want to be that help. And also, when I do pop-up, I call my friends and I tell them, hey, this merchandise over here is doing super good. It moves really well in pop-ups. If you ever want to do events out in the States, it's a possibility because your product has good interaction with people. So a lot of them have been looking for events out here and have been testing the ground, so they can also, well, maybe it's a slow season in Puerto Rico. Okay, well, maybe I can do this event in New York or Chicago or wherever, and they can have that ability to expand their merchandise as well.
Yeah. And not to put words in your mouth, but in listening to you and the vision and all the great work you're doing in support of your vendors, it sounds like you had the accelerator program that assisted you to get in business, but you're almost transferring those skills and that same model of assistance and business building to your vendors. Do you see that connection?
I feel like I want to be like a bridge to people who want to do better in business. I feel like I want to be a bridge for people who want to connect, like in so many aspects, who want to connect to the island, who want to, because being from the island, we support one another like to the point that if you do the same art as me, we actually are like, oh, did you use this brand? Does this work? Oh, no, that doesn't work. To the point that even like if two Puerto Ricans have the same name, they call themselves Tocayo. Tocayo is the name you use to like, we're now connected. So I feel that is a little bit lost here, and I want to bring that, because if this is going to be a Puerto Rican community, if this is a Puerto Rican community, I want them to feel like, oh, you're doing coffee, you're doing this, great. How can we help each other? Oh, you're doing this art, how can we help each other? So that is very much a Puerto Rican way of like always being at everyone's disposition to whatever you want to do. How can I help? How can I add? So that's something that I live very much by. And also like a lot of people are like, oh, you need to bring food, you need to do stuff, and I'm like, no, because around here a lot of people have food. So since I do pour over coffee, it takes a bit. So I encourage people, go buy a quesito, go buy a sandwich, and you can eat it here while you have your coffee. And they're like, oh my God, can I do that? And I'm like, yes, because I want to integrate other people's stuff and create a web of support. Because I don't want to take from somebody else. No, I want people to feel okay to go here, go there, and know that supporting them supports me. Because if a business grows, it means, and then people are going to come here. And if I grow, people are going to go there. So that's kind of the mindset that comes from the island.
Yeah, I love that. It's both the mission-based and it recognizes that actually if we all encourage one another, the pie gets bigger. It doesn't get cut in smaller pieces. I think that's a wonderful attribute of smart entrepreneurs. Daphne, I like to close out this show with some final advice that you would give, putting on your cap of wisdom and going through this experience. What would you share with other small business owners or aspiring owners that you've learned along the way? What bits of advice?
Something that I could say to people is, even though it's scary, what do we have to lose? Throw yourself. You could do something amazing. So just go for it, do the jump. It's always good to, if you have that inkling, that little spine telling you, try, do it. Like, it's hard, because that's the truth, but everything in life is hard. And sometimes the best things come from throwing yourself into a situation that you didn't even think of. I never thought I would be opening a business, and here we are. And also get to know your client. That is one of the best things you can do. Like, I know, like, for example, one of my clients is leaving Chicago. She's going to move back to Houston. So we're going to have, like, I already know her last day in Chicago. We're going to have like a care package for her that we're going to do with stuff. So it's like people appreciate that, because you don't know what's the situation that somebody else is living, when you're in this space and maybe 1,000 things is going on. But here, if you're going to be in service to people, like, let it not be just a product. Let it be a service of gratitude, of getting to know one another. And maybe you will form lifetime friendships. Like, one of my clients basically is right now my kid's uncle. He has become part of our everyday life. And it's just because of this, because we open ourselves up to not just sell with a purpose, with a reason, and it becomes better. Because you don't only have a product, you have yourself, and you are the face and the purpose of your place. So I feel that it's very important to also put yourself out there. so you can create true connections, and people will not only come because of the product, will also come here for you.
Yeah, wonderfully said, and so thankful for you joining the show. You're a source of inspiration for other entrepreneurs that not only show a pathway of how to participate in a program, an accelerator, get started, go into a storefront, but also the most important, giving back. And I think you demonstrate that through every day. So thank you for what you do. Thank you so much for joining the show. And we certainly wish you all the luck in the future.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing. I was like so excited when they contacted me. They're like, oh my God, they want to interview. And I'm like, me.
Amazing. We really appreciate it. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's going to do it for the show. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Daphne Labault, owner and founder of Plena Mercancía. Her story reminds us that Main Street businesses aren't simply there to sell products. It's not transactional. They are often mission and passion-based, whether it's about building community, preserving culture, or creating pathways for others to thrive, sort of giving back. One thing that stood out was the role of the Business Accelerator, which was supported by our amazing national partner, the Hartford. The Puerto Rican Cultural Center's work demonstrated that business incubators and accelerators are more than just spaces for training. They actually can create a small business network hub. Daphne's journey showed us that these networks of aspiring and growing entrepreneurs can help one another navigate challenges, avoid costly mistakes, and move forward stronger together. Often our best advocates are our peer business owners. And perhaps most inspiring was how she was paying it forward, supporting Puerto Rican artists and artisans, helping them sustain their craft and livelihoods, and building resilience in communities still recovering from hardship. So thanks for tuning in. If you're inspired by what you heard, consider supporting businesses like Plena Mercancía that are keeping culture, creativity, and community at the heart of commerce. And lastly, don't forget to review, subscribe, and send us a question or recommendation. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time, and thanks for listening.